In Minecraft, animals are much weaker than players, but everyone already knows that. So what if you had to beat Minecraft hardcore, but you were chained to a chicken, and if it died, you had to reset? Would you be able to do it? This is the Minecraft chicken run. I hope you enjoy. This was my 29th attempt at the challenge, and every other run previously had ended horribly in some accident involving the chicken, so I had high hopes for this one as we spawned in a jungle, and so of course I started off by mining trees for wood, getting stuff for basic wooden tools, eventually getting stone and then stone tools, before heading on my way. Now, spawning in a jungle was actually really important because it would give me access to melons, which not only would be an early food source, but eventually when I needed to heal the chicken, I would be able to make health potions using glistening melons. Something I normally don't do, but you can't heal a chicken any other way, so if I ever heard it, it was gonna be necessary. While I was on my way to the village I saw nearby, the chicken laid its first egg, something that was also gonna be very important later on, but we'll get there. Unfortunately, the village didn't really have much to offer, so after picking up hay bales, and then taking out the iron golem for iron, I decided to make a shield alongside an iron pickaxe. Iron tools in hand, it was almost time to head out. We're in it for the long haul, okay? Since I figured I would have everything I needed, it was time to head into a cave to get some iron armor. At this point, I feel like I should mention a limitation I had for myself. During the entirety of this run, I am not allowed to have any diamond armor, just because it would kind of make the hardcore part of this challenge obsolete. If I find diamonds in like the fortress or anything while I'm exploring, that's fair game, but I'm not going to go out of my way to go grind for full diamond and enchant everything, because it just makes me too strong, and then it just makes the only difficulty keeping the chicken alive, which I don't think is too fun. And even if I did have full diamond armor, it would not keep the chicken safe, because I don't play careful enough to not have close calls. Anyways, after that I started smelting the iron I gathered, because we were going to need armor. At least I haven't accidentally hit the chicken, you know, that's a good start. See, what I just did there is a narrative storytelling technique called foreshadowing, which you will see in just a second. Because I banned myself from enchanting, I also wasn't going to be able to get knockback on the spear, meaning that creepers were going to be very deadly if not paid attention to. Need knockback. Oh, but I can't mine diamonds, I can't enchant. Anyways, remember how I said I hadn't hit the chicken? Let's change that by sweeping it not once, but twice. I think it's one tap now. Now I don't know how much damage the sweeping actually did to the chicken, but from here on, just assume it's at 1 heart. And since I also was assuming it was on 1 heart, I would now have to figure out how to get a healing potion for the chicken without ever letting it take damage from here on out. And because of that, I decided I need to go to the Nether now rather than waiting a bit. Since I didn't have a diamond pickaxe, I was going to need a lava pool or a ruined portal to be able to go to the Nether. And while searching for either of those, I ended up coming across a few shipwrecks which got me a bunch of iron alongside 1 diamond. Because of how long it was taking to find either of these, I was really starting to dread going to the Nether, because notoriously in every past attempt, the Nether was always the hardest part. The blaze fire would instantly just ruin the chicken because I would not be able to put it out, and eventually it would just burn to death, which of course would lead to a reset. Eventually I would come across a ruined portal, and I would have to use my signature technique of dangling the animal while I build up. This is a very humane way of bringing an animal upwards and doesn't hurt it one bit. All it does is give the animal uppies. Now, when I made it to the ruined portal, it unfortunately wasn't completable, so I just took one of the gold helmets that were in the chest and went back to searching for a portal again. This search would drag on for a while, and I'd periodically build lookout points using wood I'd gather just to try and find something, and eventually I spotted a big ruined portal in the jungle, which I was very hopeful for. Oh. When I made my way over to it, it had enough lava to be able to build a nether portal, and so I did the most scuffed nether portal build you will ever witness. Now, with the portal built, I sent the chicken on through, and then followed shortly after. Please just be a normal nether, please don't be a basalt delta. Thankfully, my wish was granted, and so after putting the lead back on the chicken, it was time to start exploring the nether. Thankfully, this was a really calm nether. Since I didn't spawn in a basalt delta or a soul sand valley, there wasn't really a lot of threats that could hurt me, and so it was just a matter of babysitting the chicken, making sure it didn't walk into any fire, while I bridged across some unsavory places. Surely he's going to be very smart and not walk off the bridge and dangle above lava. Bridging over lava was probably my least favorite thing I would do in this run, just because even though the lead wouldn't break, it was still very stressful having to figure out a way to get it on the bridge safely while trying to navigate everything else going on around me. My search for a nether structure would eventually conclude as I dug through this wall, and on the other side was a fortress waiting for me. And normally I wouldn't go to the fortress first. I would want to go to the bastion to get fire res pots to at least try and protect the chicken from blazes, but because it was on 1 health, I decided that I was ultimately going to go to the fortress now rather than waiting, just because I didn't want to risk it getting hurt. Ultimately, I only decided to go through with this because I had not run into a ghast yet, which, if I wasn't paying attention, the fireball explosion would one-shot the chicken anyways, so I decided that the fortress was the correct play. And so, me and the chicken headed on over to it. Now, as for killing the blazes, I didn't really have a plan for them. Normally I would have fire res potions, but this time it was gonna have to be different because I wouldn't. And so, because I had 1 diamond, I remembered that I could actually make a diamond spear, and with it, I would be able to take care of the blazes by boxing myself in and poking them from below, something I had done in the past that had worked pretty effectively. Because I noticed a spawning platform for the blazes when I made it on the fortress, I ran on over and I made a block platform just to hide, and then I boxed myself and the chicken in so that we'd be safe while I gathered myself to start taking them out. Alongside that, I made a 1 block wide hallway so that the chicken would have to at least navigate it and hopefully stay out of the fire if the blaze lit it below. Being as prepared as I thought I could be, I started taking out all the blazes that I could. Even though I had my cowardly box, it still wasn't enough to prevent some close calls, but ultimately I managed to get out just fine. After healing up, I was able to get my first blaze rod, and then many more started to drop. And I was going to need more than usual because I also need enough to be able to make a brewing stand alongside enough extra blaze powder to be able to make the potions I would need. With 10 blaze rods in hand, I left my spawning box and started exploring the Nether fortress for nether wart. But once I came across the nether wart and picked it all up, I realized I completely forgot that I was going to need sand and cobblestone to be able to make bottles and the brewing stand. So we'd have to wait on that. All in all, the fortress adventure was very successful, netting me everything I would need, and so I began heading my way back to the warped forest because I was just going to get ender pearls from killing endermen. Even though it was slower than trading with piglins, it was safer than going to a bastion, as 1 piglin brute would ruin my day, and 1 missed crossbow shot from a piglin would end the chicken instead. Remember how I said ghast were very scary? Well, this one decided to spawn right in front of me after I had all of the ender pearls I needed, so I had to take him out immediately. And once that ghast was out of the picture, it was time to head back to my home portal because it was time to finally heal the chicken. Once I was back in the overworld, the first thing I did was I towered up to pick up the gold blocks I left on top of the big ruined portal. I didn't know it yet, but these would be very important later. Once I jumped down, I started taking the chicken to a river so that I could find some sand. Now, in post, I realized not grabbing glowstone to make stronger healing potions was stupid, and in fact, I severely regret it, but past me didn't even have that thought come across him. With the sand smelting, I made the brewing stand, and once it was done, I grabbed the glass, and then I made the bottles before filling them with water so I could start brewing. And once they were made into healing potions, I added gunpowder to make them splash, and then it was finally time to heal the chicken. And ready? You know, it was a little unceremonious, but you're finally not 1 shot away from dying. Except the Ender Dragon can kill you in like every way possible, so I don't really know what the point was. Now that it was time to start finding the stronghold, I was starting to stress. This would be the 3rd time I made it to the end, as the Ender Dragon Fireball has one-shot the chicken 2 prior times, and so I was really trying to figure out a plan to keep it safe when I got there. Along the way, the chicken dropped its 15th egg that I picked up, ignoring the fact that I missed like 5 of them that fell randomly and I just wasn't paying attention. Along the way, I also came across some wolves, which were very scary to me as they do attack passive animals, and it wouldn't be the first time something like that killed the chicken randomly. And while past me boats to the stronghold, I would like to take 1 second to ask you to subscribe. Only 3.2% of the people that watch my videos actually are, and as of recording this, I just hit 5,000 subs, so if you want to be here in the Here Before 10K club, time is limited. So, if you feel like it, please consider. And you could always change your mind later if you like. But with that out of the way, it wouldn't take too much longer for the Eye of Ender to start turning, and so I made it for land. It's a little more left now. Once I found where the stronghold should be, I started digging down. And while I was digging, I thought I overshot the location of it, and so I started using F3A, and instead of finding the stronghold, I looked around and saw this. What in the... Huh? That's 1, 2... What in the world? Okay, wait, the stronghold was here. What in the... So then what is that? I do realize that that was a trial chamber. Not too long after making it into the stronghold, I was able to locate the portal. Oh, okay, there we go. And before going in, I made sure to grab some water since you never know when you might need it. Alongside, there was some diamonds above me, and since I didn't go looking for them, I allowed myself to have them. And then with them, I was able to make a diamond sword. And while I could have used them to make a pickaxe to try and get obsidian for an enchant table, I would still be 1 diamond short, so the sword was the only thing that made sense to get. Off we boat. The spawn in the end wasn't great, but because all the blocks I had gathered digging down to it, I was able to make a weird L-shaped pathway to drop the chicken down, And then I would also start mining end stone on the way up to the main island so that I would have blocks that the dragon wouldn't be able to destroy.
Alright, you know what? Let's do it. Let's go.
Obviously, I was nervous, and my bow aim goes to prove that as I miss a very easy shot on this cage multiple times in a row.
We wasted arrows, but we have something else. Okay, fine. That's fine. My bad aim for these stupid cages. No problem.
While trying to go up one of the towers, I accidentally popped the lead off the chicken, and so I had to dive down to get it. And then this close call, I don't know. Like, I know the chicken's hitbox is different, but it surviving might genuinely be a miracle or the luckiest thing to happen to me in a run in a while. So please watch as I dive into the fireball to pick up the lead. I start spam right-clicking trying to put the lead back on the chicken. Ultimately, I have to go over to it. The dragon fires a fireball. The fireball spawns 1 block above where the chicken is. The chicken walks out of it like nothing even happened.
I don't know how you lived that. I'm gonna be so genuine. My heart is pounding. Get up here. I heard you take damage from the crystal. That's okay. I'm gonna heal you. Chicken. Come on. Dude.
Please get on the platform. Getting that mad at the block game chicken is embarrassing, honestly. After healing the chicken, I started building a platform
So that any fireballs will hit up here and not you.
This plan would only work as long as the dragon wasn't stupid and only aimed at me. And we're just gonna hope that it goes well for me, right?
I'm gonna take the eggs and I'm just gonna hit that. I'm gonna hit that one first try because I'm awesome. I'm gonna miss that one because I suck, but the second one is gonna hit. Go. And then the third one over here. All right.
From there, I used the arrows that I had left over and was able to take out another 2 towers, leaving me with only 3 when I had to head down using the water bucket, and then I was able to egg the 2 remaining towers that were at least low to the ground, leaving me with 1 left. And of course, to climb the last tower, I would just use my water bucket, and once I made it to the top and popped the crystal, I took one last look over everything.
Okay. All the crystals are broken. All we gotta do is kill the dragon. And I think I have a plan, but
My plan was relatively simple. I was going to head back to the staircase where I dug into the main end island, and then I was going to use the gold blocks to make gold pickaxes to gather as many blocks as possible so that I could build a safety shelter that the dragon wouldn't be able to destroy nor fireball me in. This was the best idea I could come up with, as there wasn't really a way to keep the chicken safe from fireballs just because the way the dragon aimed them, and I couldn't rely on lucky breaks like what had happened earlier to keep it safe. Once my dragon safety shelter was built, it was just a waiting game, waiting to stop hearing the dragon flying over me and wait for the roar as it would perch above the fountain. Fortunately, this wouldn't take too long as the first perch would come, and I would start approaching so that I could deal my first bit of damage to the dragon.
Gonna wait for her to stop circling so I know what direction to not be.
The biggest thing here was not getting greedy. One misstep and when the dragon flew away, the chicken would instantly die, or even worse, she could just send me off the main island as well. And even though it was gonna make the dragon fight drag on, it didn't make any sense to throw the run just by being greedy. And so it became a game of waiting for the dragon to perch while hiding in the dragon safety shelter, trading blows with it before running away, and then repeating the process back and forth.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Run.
Right there, I was trying to count the hits to gauge how many I could get away with safely, just to make sure that I wouldn't misplay.
Me too, man. Me too. Here, you know what?
Baby!
Even though I had just added another liability, it wasn't going to stop me from inching closer and closer to victory with every perch. It's times like these where you really start missing the ability to sprint, or enchanted weapons, or OP gear and items, because this dragon fight took so much longer than any fight I've ever had before it. And of course it was because I was being cautious, but man! And even though I have all this talk about being cautious, I start getting more and more greedy every time the dragon would perch as I was trying to get as many hits in as possible, being overtly confident that nothing could go wrong, and thankfully I don't end up getting punished. The thing that snapped me back to reality was this dragon leaving really early after perching, as I wasn't ready for it. Even then though, victory was drawing ever closer, and after this perch it really only looked like I was gonna need 1, maybe 2 more, before victory was mine. Stay still, just stay still, just stay still. Duh! Alright, one more. Dragon, it's been real, but I need to finish you off. I need to take this chicken home. And so, I ran in one last time to finish the dragon off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, Yes! Oh my god, I did it. And so, the Ender Dragon was defeated, and everything seemed right. And so, I went through the portal to go back to the overworld where it all began. Now, my dear viewer, after everything, you'd think I wouldn't do this. However, in a cruel twist of fate, there was only one way this was ever going to end. For nothing could kill the chicken but me, myself, and I. I used the watermelon that I've had since the very beginning to have a seed to make sure that it would look at me. Well, buddy, me and you, we've been through a lot. You put me through a lot. And, you know, just know, it's nothing personal, but that's the challenge. I hope you enjoyed. I personally would not recommend doing it, but if you want to try it, be my guest. I look forward to seeing it if you do. Till next time then, bye-bye now.